Now let me get to my boy Kevin Durant of the Phoenix Suns. Kevin apparently took exception to my comments I made on First Take this week about his leader.
If you said to me, it's a game 7, it's a game 1, it's a game 5, I don't give a damn what it is. Kevin Durant's gonna show up and he's gonna ball out. It's what ability you have to peel out of others. He's been relatively leaderless. He's been very lacking in inspiration in terms of peeling out.
Kevin Durant, silent assassin on the court, just turned into a social media sniper. You know what's wild? He took aim at Stephen A. Smith, the loudest voice in sports media. KD's usually all about his game, letting his skills do the talking. But this time, he fired back with a tweet that left Stephen A. scrambling. Imagine this. Stephen A., the guy who's always got something to say, suddenly at a loss for words. KD's tweet was like a game-winning shot right in Stephen A.'s face. You think Durant's just about buckets and championships? Think again. He's out here changing the game off the court, too.
Now here's what Kevin posted on social media via X in response to those very comments I made on First Take. Quote, I would disagree, Stephen. I would argue passionately that my intangibles have always been on par with my talent, end quote. Do you have the ability to galvanize the troops around you to maximize their potential? A legit argument can be made to say no. That's the bottom line.
But does he get the others around him to do it? Not only does he not do it, he doesn't feel the level of responsibility I think he should feel.
Kevin Durant is a phenomenal player. He's not a phenomenal leader. The evidence has shown it. He showed it in Brooklyn, showed it in Oklahoma City, has shown it in Phoenix thus far.
Let's break down this epic showdown that's got everyone talking. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You know what's wild? KD usually lets his game do the talking, but this time he fired off a tweet that had everyone's jaw on the floor. We're talking about Kevin Durant, one of the most dominant players in the NBA, suddenly throwing down in the digital arena. It's like watching a quiet assassin decide to start trash-talking mid-game. Picture this, Stephen A. Smith, on his show, going off about KD's leadership skills. He's not holding back, saying KD's been leaderless and lacking in inspiration. Stephen A.'s voice is booming through TVs and phones across the country, calling out one of the best players in the game. It's like poking a sleeping lion with a stick. But here's where it gets crazy. KD's scrolling through his phone, probably chilling after practice when he sees this. And you know what? He decides he's not going to take it lying down. It's like watching a superhero decide to take off the mask and confront the villain face to face. KD's tweet comes out of nowhere, like a surprise dunk in a quiet gym. He's arguing that his intangibles have always been on par with my talent. Boom. Just like that, KD's not just dunking on opponents anymore, he's dunking on critics. It's like watching a chess player suddenly flip the board and challenge you to a boxing match. This isn't just some random Twitter beef. We're talking about one of the best players in the NBA standing up to the loudest voice in sports media. It's David versus Goliath, but David's got a mean jump shot and millions of followers. The whole sports world is watching, waiting to see what happens next. Everyone's buzzing, refreshing their feeds like crazy. Will Stephen A. backtrack? Will he double down? It's like watching the final seconds of a tied game and no one knows who's got the ball. Then Stephen A. fires back, and here's the kicker. He's not backing down. He's saying KD's a phenomenal player, but not a phenomenal leader. It's like watching two heavyweights trade blows in the center of the ring. Neither one's backing down and the crowd's going wild. But guess what? We're just getting started. This clash is about to get even crazier. It's not just about KD and Stephen A. anymore. It's about players, media, fans. The whole game is changing right before our eyes. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, picture this. Kevin Durant, one of the most dominant players in NBA history, suddenly finds himself as the underdog? I know, it sounds insane. But in this new battle, KD's jump shot and handles won't save him. He's stepping into the media arena, and it's Stephen A.'s home court. Can KD pull off the upset of the century? Let's be real, KD's always been the guy everyone's scared of on the court. He's the dude who can drop 30 points in his sleep, the guy who makes defenders look silly. But in this media game, that's Stephen A's turf. It's like watching a basketball superstar try to outrun Usain Bolt. It just doesn't seem fair. Now KD's stepping into this new arena, and he's not wearing his usual armor of NBA championships and MVP trophies. He's going up against a guy who makes his living with words, who can spin a story faster than KD can spin past a defender. It's like KD's playing a whole new sport, and he's still learning the rules. We're seeing a different side of KD here. He's not just dunking on opponents anymore. He's taking on the media head on. It's wild, right? The guy who used to let his game do the talking is now speaking up loud and clear. It's like watching a quiet kid in class suddenly stand up and challenge the teacher. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about perception, about who gets to control the narrative. KD's saying, "Hey, I'm not just what you see on the court. I've got more to me than that." And Stephen A? He's not backing down. He's still saying KD's a phenomenal player but not a phenomenal leader. It's like they're playing tug of war with KD's reputation. The pressure's building. Can KD win this new kind of game? Or is he out of his league? It's not like he can just cross over Stephen A and drive to the hoop. This is a whole different ball game, and KD's learning as he goes. But here's the thing. By speaking up, KD's already changing the game. He's showing that even superstars can be vulnerable, and they're not gonna just sit back and take it. He's saying, "Yeah, I'm human too. I've got feelings, and I'm not afraid to show them." It's like watching a superhero take off their mask and show the world who they really are. This whole thing is bigger than just KD and Stephen A. It's about athletes taking control of their own stories. It's about challenging the old ways of doing things. KD's tweet, that's like the first shot in a revolution. But don't think Stephen A's backing down. He's doubling down, sticking to his guns. This battle's just heating up, and it's gonna get wild. We're watching history unfold, tweet by tweet, comment by comment. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. This is just the beginning of a whole new era in sports media. Remember when athletes used to just stick to sports? Well, those days are long gone. KD's tweet isn't just a clap back at Stephen A, it's a power move that's shaking up the whole game. But here's the real question. Is this new era of player-driven narratives actually good for sports? You know what's crazier than KD taking on Stephen A? The fact that this whole thing is exposing a bigger issue in sports. We're talking about a seismic shift in how athletes and media interact. It's like watching a revolution unfold in real time, and it's wild. For years, guys like Stephen A have been the voice of sports. They say something, and boom, it becomes the narrative. These media giants have been calling the shots, shaping how we see athletes and teams. It's like they've had this massive megaphone and everyone else just had to listen. But now, players like KD are saying, "Hold up, we've got Twitter too. We can speak for ourselves." It's like watching David pick up a slingshot against Goliath, but this time, David's got millions of followers backing him up. Athletes are no longer just sitting back and letting others tell their story. They're grabbing the mic and speaking directly to the fans. This isn't just about KD and Stephen A anymore. It's about players taking control of their own stories. We're seeing a shift in power that's changing the whole game. The media is not the only one with a megaphone now. Players are becoming their own media outlets, bypassing the traditional channels and going straight to the fans. But here's the question, is this good for sports? For fans? For the players themselves? On one hand, we're getting unfiltered access to our favorite athletes. We're hearing their thoughts, their feelings, straight from the source. It's raw, it's real, and it's happening right in front of us on social media. On the other hand, is this leading to more drama, more distractions from the game itself? And what about the role of journalism in sports? Are we losing something when players can just tweet their side of the story without any fact-checking or context? What we're seeing is a new kind of sports dialogue. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it's changing how we understand our sports heroes. We're getting a more nuanced view of these athletes, seeing them as real people with thoughts and feelings, not just stats on a screen. And trust me, this KD-Stephen A clash, it's just the beginning. We're entering a whole new era of sports media, where the lines between player and commentator are blurring. It's like we're watching a new sport being invented right before our eyes. The rules are changing, the players are changing, and we're all trying to figure out what this means for the future of sports. So buckle up, sports fans. This ride's just getting started, and it's going to be one hell of a journey. All right, let's wrap this up. This KD Stephen A showdown? It's not just some Twitter drama, it's a game changer, folks. We're watching the sports world flip upside down right in front of us. Think about it. Players like KD aren't just ballers anymore. They're becoming their own media powerhouses. They're taking control of their stories, speaking directly to fans. It's like every athlete's got their own TV channel now, and they're the star, producer, and director all rolled into one. So what's next? Are we going to see more players calling out the media? Maybe a whole new way of covering sports? Whatever it is, you can bet it's going to be wild. The game's changing, both on and off the court, and we've got front row seats to the show. Buckle up, sports fans. This ride's just getting started.